My name is Ron Luckbill, and this video is about how to be a better baseball player. I'm sure you're probably already on a team, already have a baseball coach who's helping you. You've probably been playing for years. Um, However, I would suggest to you to also have a coach who helps you with your strength and conditioning. A strength and conditioning coach. Every major league player, every minor league player has a strength and conditioning coach. Every major college baseball team has a strength and conditioning coach, and they end up working with the athletes just as much as the regular sport coach. And so, really, it's an important thing, or else these professional and college teams wouldn't be hiring that they've got the bottom line to look out for, and but they feel this is a worthy investment, and but it's equally as important, probably more important, for high school players or any player to have a strength and conditioning coach. And uh, Here's what you need to do. That I would recommend that you do a couple days a week, 2, 3 days a week, or even just one day a week if that's all you got. Just one day a week, pretty much year round. Work on improving your strength, power, and speed. How do you do that? I would suggest working on the three big lifts: the bench press, the squat, and the deadlift, and getting your numbers up as high as you can. In order to work on that strength, you need to do low reps and multiple sets. I would say 3 sets would be a minimum. 5 or 6 sets would be better, ideal, um, and and to keep the reps low. 5 reps would be a maximum, somewhere 1 to 5 reps, so that you're constantly working on improving the strength by having it uh, working with heavy weights, basically. That and here's what I suggest that you do not do. Don't do bodybuilding. Don't do what the other guys in the gym are doing. Don't do what your buddies are doing. That they're doing, 20, 30 different exercises. They're doing isolation exercises like curls and things. I don't mean to say you should never do curls, but really should concentrate on the big compound lifts: bench press, deadlift, squat, and you'll get faster and stronger. Here's the thing. I think a lot of people think all I got to do is my sport. All I got to do is play baseball. And that's great and very important. You're right. However, that's not all that you need to do. That you also need to improve your speed, strength, and power. That will, increase your hitting power. It'll increase your throwing power. It'll increase your speed and your general athleticism, and it will help prevent injuries. That strength training actually helps prevent injuries because you have a more um, balanced muscular system as opposed to an imbalanced muscular system that comes from only doing one motion repetitively. That and that helps prevent injuries. Um, Now, you do. I would suggest, in addition to the bench press, that you do some rows, uh, inverted rows, dumbbell rows, barbell rows, something that would be work the opposing muscles, so then that's balanced. Um, and mainly just do those lifts. You can do a couple afterwards, after you've done the major lifts, then you could do some auxiliary lifts that might help with core strength. That might help with injury prevention, so that you don't get rotator cuff injuries or elbow injuries, that sort of thing. However, it's true in almost every sport that I'm aware of, that your strength to weight ratio is one of the biggest predictors of athletic performance. That is, it's important to be strong, powerful, fast, and it's important to also have that kind of lean strength, so that you're not carrying extra weight and your strength to weight ratio is as high as possible. And it will take you some time to really get that strength up. Now, it is true that, well, in addition to the strength training, I also highly suggest that you do some sprints, that you do short sprints, um, you know, just uh, same distance as you would run from home plate to first base, and then rest, have complete rest, do that, you know, maybe 3 to 7 times repeatedly, so that you're really working on maximum speed. You're not really working on endurance. I don't suggest, this is one of the worst things you could do, would be to work on doing long distance running, because it will slow you down. That your muscles will get used to that speed, and that's the speed you don't want to go at. You want to go at maximum speed, and by sprinting fast, you will work on that maximum speed. So I suggest, doing a limited number of sprints, but all out, and having complete rest in between them. You can do that on the same day as your weight training. Just do it right after your weight training, for example. Um, and now it is true that here's the thing: in most sports, including baseball, your speed of movement is much faster than the weightlifting movement. It might take you a second or two to lift the weight, whereas your swing or your throw, we're talking a tenth of a second, 2/10 of a second, something like that. That is much faster. Um, but if you build your strength, that and you're also you know practicing throwing fast, hitting hard, that you will increase that. Now, that said, there is also a way, once you get a really high level of strength, that then you can help transform that strength into power, which power is, strength expressed at a high speed. So, like the Olympic lifts are a good way to work on power, or plyometric exercises are a good way to work on power. But before you do that, you need to have a good base of strength. So at your level, if you haven't been already weight training for at least a couple of years, and you don't, and your strength to weight ratio is not that great. For example, if you're if your bench press max is less than 1.5 times your body weight, if your squat and deadlift are less than 2 times your body weight, that you need to get that strength up first, and then you can start possibly working on power also. But you really want to get those numbers up on the three big lifts. That and what you really don't want to do is doing the bodybuilding exercises that a lot of the other guys are doing at the gym, because that will slow you down, and it won't help improve your sports performance. They're not designed to do that. They're designed to you know show off your muscles or something. So if you want to just show off your muscles, you don't really care about your sports performance, then you can do that. However, it can make you slower, because the the exercises are not designed to make you stronger. They're designed to just build the muscles bigger. That Bodybuilding is a completely different sport. If you wanted to do a completely different sport, that would help you uh, with your strength and conditioning, I would suggest power lifting, which is doing those big three lifts: the bench press, squat, and deadlift. Um, that you get someone to coach you in the power lifting, or Olympic lifting. Get someone to coach you, and you do need a coach for Olympic lifting. You don't go throwing around Olympic um, lifts without a good, knowledgeable coach who can coach you through that, so that you do the movements properly and don't get injured. And so and that would be another option if you want to do a different sport that would help you with your baseball, is to do either powerlifting or Olympic lifting, or both. That really, what I'm recommending is essentially powerlifting. You're doing um, the three big lifts, and also some rows that would provide some balance and work the opposing muscles. That's important also. And to do sprints, to do fast sprints to work on your speed. That All right, a lot of people will ask, okay, I want to do something specific that's real baseball. I figure, okay, this I got to work on the swing, and that's all I need to do. And in a sense, I understand that intuitively it makes sense that, like, okay, all I need to do is like train this one motion, and then I don't need to work all these other weird muscles that don't really contribute to my sport. And but here's the way the body works: is the body does not like to get imbalanced because it knows it's smarter than you. It knows that you get imbalanced, you could easily get injuries. Um, that and so the body will actually restrict the amount of strength you build, even if you're practicing that batting all the time and you're like working really hard at it every day. The body will put a limit on it because it says, "Oh, wait a minute. What about these other muscles? What about the core? What about the legs? What about the muscles that you aren't using in that, or that aren't as developed, that the glutes, for example." Um, now, now it is true a lot of muscles are involved in the baseball swing. That you should try to get the whole body involved in it. It is a full body movement. It's a quick movement. It's a very fast movement, and so you you don't want to be doing slow lifting. You want to be moving at a quick pace, and and you mainly want to be doing this in the off season. You can do some during the on season, during the baseball season to maintain, but what you really want to do is build up your strength and your speed in the off season so that you start the season, boom, you're the fastest, strongest, most powerful person on the team, and that that then that's your base that then you're really going to build on during the season. That you will see great improvements if you come into the beginning of the season with a lot of strength, speed, and power. So, so that's what I suggest you do. In addition to your normal sports training, that's what every single professional team does. That's what every Major League Baseball team does. That's what every major college team does. Also, they have a strength and conditioning coach. They're working on strength, speed, and power, and that now it is true there are different philosophies on um, how to do the strength and conditioning. There are some professional teams especially that just use Olympic lifts. However, I would note that those athletes probably already have a really good strength base, that they're older athletes and they have a really good strength base. There are also some strength and conditioning coaches who do functional training that really their main emphasis is on balancing and working on injury prevention, because that's the big thing for their team. Is that's the big pressure is that they want to make sure that their players can play, that if they can't play, um, then that's a big problem for their team. So there's some that take that approach. However, if you're younger, if you're say under 25 years old and you're watching this video, that really your emphasis should be on getting your numbers up so that you get really strong on the big major compound lifts, the bench press, um, and the deadlift and the squat. Now, I also like the overhead press, and I would suggest doing that some instead of the bench press, as a way to it's an overhead movement that works your shoulders and your upper body in a little different way, that will give your body a little bit of balance. And I also highly recommend you get some coaching, because you want to make sure you're doing these movements properly. For example, in the bench press, you start flaring those elbows out like this instead of bringing them in, that you can easily get shoulder injuries. Also, like I said, I recommend working the opposing muscles by doing some rows so you get some balance on those. Um, and I mean, there are ways to do. I'd also suggest, at least at the very beginning, spending a month or two working on doing body weight exercises without the weights yet at this point. So you're working on your form. It's a very functional kind of exercise, and body weight exercises are great. The only issue is, you're doing push-ups. Well, you start doing a lot of push-ups, you're doing 40 or 50 push-ups, and then you're not really working on strength at that point. You're working on endurance or something, and really want to keep those reps way down so that you're working on strength. A strength rep range would be something like under 5 reps, 5 reps or less. A hypertrophy strength range would be somewhere like 6 to 20 reps, and then over 20 reps is going to be an endurance rep range, roughly. And so what I'm saying with the body weight is that body weight exercises is you need to find a way to keep making them different so that you can keep those rep ranges down, so that you're really working on strength. For example, with push-ups, for example, you can do weighted push-ups where you put some weights in the small of your back and then do that, um, and then your reps will be a little bit lower. You can also work on doing one arm push-ups. There's a way of doing a progression on that. You might start out with having your body at this kind of angle with your arms on a table, and then move to having your arms like on a bench, and then move to uh, I'm sorry, having one arm on a table, and then having one arm on a bench, and then eventually you can work to just having one arm on the floor and doing one arm push-ups that way. The one arm push-ups are a great exercise, and if you do it that way, you can keep in a proper rep range and work on your strength, and it's a great exercise too. Same with one arm inverted rows, one arm pull-ups, um, and pistol squats. That's one leg squats. You can work on progressions to get to do those. It's also an excellent body weight exercise. But then I would suggest working on or body weight exercises are a great way to go as a change of pace. You've been working on your 3 big lifts, and you're going great with it, but you've kind of plateaued, and so you're looking for something different. So you can switch to doing body weight exercises for a while. That's a good change of pace also. Yeah, I would suggest you always work on the speed, all out speed, not endurance. That probably the big things I want to drive home is don't do bodybuilding, and don't do long distance running, because those will slow you down and can actually hinder your performance. You want to be doing heavy weights, strength training, and doing short sprints that will increase your speed. So you're working on your strength, power, speed, and that will enhance your baseball ability. That I'm sure your coach can help you with your swing, with your throwing, um, with your overall techniques in the sport. But I would suggest you do what all pros do, what all major colleges do, and that is to do a strength and conditioning, a real sports strength and conditioning program, in addition to your regular baseball training program. That so that's my suggestion to help you improve your baseball. Thank you very much.